Hi everyone, good to see you. I am at home like the rest of you with Lola. This is Lola, my doggy, and she's going to help me make some videos for you, or maybe not help me, but maybe just sit with me instead, and to try and teach you how to sketch. Okay, you can use these videos with your parents, with your grandparents, with your brothers and sisters, whoever wants to learn how to draw. We're going to be covering very basic things to start with, how to hold the pencil, how to apply different pressure with the pencil, right through to more advanced techniques of shading and principles such as perspective and using ellipses and things like that when you're drawing. So I hope you enjoy it. Please bear with it. I've never made a video in my life and I have no idea whether it's going to work or not. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you as soon as I can back at school. Okay, bye. So for your first task today, you're going to need a piece of paper, maybe an A4 piece, a pencil, a rubber, a mirror so that you can see your face, and then either some sort of can or tin like this, or a mug, or a piece of fruit like an apple. You're also going to need a timer or a stopwatch, so maybe you could use your iPad or phone or a clock. So if you can go and get those things, bring them back and I'll see you in a minute. You're next going to set up your piece of paper like this. So you're going to get a ruler, rule a line down the centre. On one half, you're going to put the title Still Life, and on the second half, you're going to put the title Self-Portrait. When you've found your objects, I want you to bring them back and put them on the table in front of you. You can either organise them all together, if you would like to draw all three, or if you would prefer, you can just take one object and decide which angle you would like to draw it at. Probably face on is the easiest. Or you might take the beans, or you might decide to take two objects and put them together. Okay. You're now going to set your timer for 5 minutes only. You're not going to ask for any help from anybody at home. I would like to see what you can do without any help whatsoever. So off you go, set your timer for 5 minutes, get your sketching pencil, and let's see what you can do. So you should now all be set up with your mirror, being able to see your face in that mirror, and you've got your pencil ready. So set your timer for 5 minutes and off you go and start sketching what you can see in the mirror. So before we start, it's worth talking about the pencils quickly that we all have in our hands. Do you want to take a quick look and see which pencil you have? Your pencil may have a series of letters and numbers on it. So it might say HB, it might say B, it might be 2B, which is what I'm using. It could be any one of these. So take a little look now and see what you've got. The HB pencils are normally what we use at school for our handwriting, and in our art lessons with me, we always use 2B pencils because they're very, very good for sketching. They're much softer than an HB pencil, therefore they're very good for nice smooth soft marks, good for blending, really good for sketchy marks that we like to use in our lessons. If you're using an H or a 2H or a 3H, they're very, very hard pencils and they're very, very light and they get a little bit scratchy. So they're not ideal for sketching. So if you can find yourself a B or a 2B or a 3B, that's perfect. If you're using an HB, that's fantastic too. Now, before we start, we really do need to talk about how you hold the pencil, which sounds very silly because we just hold a pencil, don't we? But when we're doing our art, we really do need to think about where on the pencil we hold it and also the angle we hold it at. If we hold the pencil very, very, very close to the end, we do have a lot of control over the marks we make. That's great, but it's not very free and relaxing. It's quite tight the way we draw with it, which is great for handwriting, maybe not so great for sketching. So we maybe want to bring it up a little bit more. If we bring it all the way up, we can do very, very free marks like that, but we have no control. So it depends what kind of sketching we're going to do. So that's one thing to think about. Also is the angle that you're holding the pencil at. when you're holding it very, very vertical like this, you can't help but make very dark marks. And I know a lot of you make very, very dark lines when you sketch, and I'm always telling you to ease off a little bit on the pressure. So one way to do that is to hold the pencil more horizontally like this. Relax your hand, don't grip it for all it's worth, but really relax it, hold it more horizontally. Then it's actually quite hard to make dark marks when your hand's a little bit more horizontal like this. Okay, so we want a more horizontal pencil for sketching, and maybe bringing up the hand a little bit more, not right down there next to the nib. So before we start, we're going to do a little warm-up, a bit like Joe Wicks, but for art, and a whole lot easier than Joe Wicks as well. So you're going to make 5 dots on your piece of paper. It doesn't matter where they are. You can space them out in different ways, put them wherever you like. And all we're going to do is simply join the dots. But we are not going to use big, hard, straight lines like this. We're going to start to practice our sketching, okay? So we're going to go from one dot to another, checking where we're going every time. We can adjust it because we're doing lovely sketchy marks. We're trying to keep it quite light so that we hit the next dot, okay? We don't want to miss it. Now what I find is my hand gets to a certain point and it can't go any further and it feels very awkward. So what I prefer to do is start moving the paper, okay? So I'm going to move the paper and twist the paper around to help me get to the next dot. My hand's pretty much staying where it is, but I'm using my left hand to move to the next dot, okay? And I'm going round like this. So I'm checking where my next dot is. I'm using a series of little sketchy marks to find that next dot. Okay, so I'm controlling my pencil. I'm controlling the piece of paper too by moving it, so it helps my hand be in a much easier position to sketch with. Okay, and I think I might do a little bit of a curve there, just to round it off. Okay, so that's all we're going to do, is to go from one to the next. Okay, sounds nice and easy, doesn't it? Now, one thing to bear in mind, if you're left-handed, you may like to do it in the opposite direction, okay? Because you'll find that if you're doing in the same direction as a right-handed person, you will then drag your hand over all the artwork that you've just done. So you kind of want to do things rather than, I always go from left to right because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, it's easier for you to work right to left, and then you don't end up rubbing out everything as you go, okay? Because you can see if I'm left-handed, if I did this, look where my hand goes, it follows me round and it tends to rub out everything I'm doing. So that is a very good thing to bear in mind if you're left-handed, okay? Now, once we've joined up our shape, what we're going to do now is simply go over it and over it and over it. So we're practicing, can we now go over a shape precisely? Can we do it without going off those lines? Can we stay on this train track that we've created? Or are we going to fall off it? And this will give you practice at moving the paper around, using your sketchy marks, hitting the points as you go, so making sure that you're accurate in your drawing. And you should, as you go on, get better and better and better, and it will flow and flow and flow. Number 2 is quite similar, but this is going to be a little bit harder. So 5 dots again, wherever you want them, okay? You're going to join them up however you want them. However, this time you're going to vary the pressure of the pencil, and by that I mean how hard you push with that pencil. So we're going to start off from dot number 1 to dot number 2. You're going to push really hard. You're still using sketching marks, but you're applying a lot of pressure. I'm really pushing down with that pencil. You can see how dark that line is getting, okay? From dot number 2 to dot number 3, I'm going to do the lightest line I can possibly do. I'm imagining, as some of you know I say in school, imagine that paper is going to blow up if you push too hard, okay? So really, really lightly. You can do any lines you want. Again, you might want to add a little curve in. Okay, so I'm doing it very, very lightly from dot 2 to 3. Turning the paper around as I go, remember. Then I'm going to go really, really heavy again. So putting as much pressure as I can, but still using my sketchy marks to join up to the next dot. Now, the next one, I want you to apply a medium pressure. So not as hard as this one, but not as soft as this one. So I've gone really, really hard. I'm now going to ease off a little bit. Okay, so I've got this kind of medium pressure going on round to that dot. And then finally, we're going to go really, really light again to finish off. So you should be able to see, hopefully, the difference between my very hard pressure, my medium pressure, and my very light pressure. And you're going to do that again. Okay, so you're going to start again at dot number 1. So start here. You're going to go really, really heavy. Okay. Then you're going to go really, really light. And remember, you're trying to stay on that train track the whole time. Then you're going to go really, really heavy again. So really a lot of pressure. Then you're going to go medium pressure. So a little bit less than that, but not as hard as the last one. And then finally, really, really light again. Now, here's your final workout for today. Okay, this is to practice easing off on the pressure again, but in a different way. Okay, so we've tried it just using a line. Now we're going to try shading with it. Okay, so we're going to start, we can go anywhere we like on the page, but we're just going to start by trying to shade a really, really, really dark patch here. And as we're going along, I want you to relax the hand a little bit, relax the fingers and ease the pressure off. So I don't want you to push as hard now, okay? So we're easing off as we go along. And then we're going to change it again. We're going to ease off even more. I'm trying to relax my hand, try and relax that pressure and get lighter and lighter and lighter and even lighter. I'm getting so light now that we're going to get to almost nothing. Okay, so I would like you to have a go at that. You can do it wherever you like. It doesn't matter if it's in a neat way or a messy way, but I just want you to be able to learn to release that pressure of your hand. It's very tricky for some of us because we love to grip that pencil so hard, but we have to learn just to lift that pencil off the page a little bit. Then we get these fantastic tones in our shading, which will allow us to sketch like a professional. So, well done. You have made it to the end of the first lesson. You say, well done. Say, well done, Lola. So what I want you to do this week is practice those 3 warm-up exercises for a couple of minutes every day. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. And by the end of the week, you would have improved loads and you'll be ready for our next lesson. So we'll see you next week. Say bye, Lola.